Hey everybody, it's Capper with Lantern Light Capital. We buy self-storage facilities, we rehab self-storage facilities, and we develop ground-up facilities. Listen, we're going over the book, Structuring and Raising Debt and Equity for Real Estate by Rob Beardsley. I need to do this interlude though. This is my rant on cap rate. Everybody likes to talk about cap rate. I don't like it that much. It is useful, absolutely, but it is not the end all be all. Let me kind of get at why. So, and I will say, when you start talking to higher institutional grade investors, they kind of shrug off cap rate as well, because cap rate can be, we'll say, made up. And technically, cap rate is only relevant on a facility that was just sold, if that makes any sense. I'll go into why. Otherwise, it's a made-up cap rate, or cap rate is inherently made up based on how you're listing your facility. Now, let me explain why. So NOI, that is pretty straightforward. Let's just call it profit for ease of speaking, and we'll kind of put this in standard terms. Your gross revenue, aka how much money you're making, minus your expenses. Your gross minus your expenses is your profit, aka your NOI. So NOI over your purchase price, that is cap rate. So let's say you make $1 million a year, $1 million a year. You're printing out t-shirts, right? T-shirts are very expensive. Hats and t-shirts are expensive, and you're spending you're selling these t-shirts, $90K per year. You know, your gross, your expenses, and you're making $10 a shirt, 10% per shirt. And so your profit is $100K, right? Profit, aka NOI. Now, why is the mortgage payment not included in this, or your debt service? Well, everybody has a different loan. That's the short answer of it. Like, it is not a useful metric. Well, it is kind of, especially if you're doing a subject to financing deal, but in general, to get a quick view of a self-storage facility or any business, really, it's not terribly relevant. I shouldn't say that, but you get where I'm going with this. It's not the most relevant to say, okay, what's your cash flow? Because maybe this clown got locked into this horrible loan 2 years ago, and somebody convinced him to get this loan that's a horrible deal, and you're going to refinance it you're going to finance the deal and get a way better loan. So I don't really care what the other guy's loan is, although I do for many reasons, but you get my point. That's why it's not included in this cap rate calculation. Now, cap rate equals your profit, aka your NOI, over your purchase price. In other terms, your profit, let's just make this easy, profit equals your cap rate times your sales price. What's the difference between purchase price, sales price, and offering price? It doesn't matter. It's just when you're talking about it, right? And there's no difference between sales price and purchase price. It's the same price. It's just who you're referring to, whether you're the buyer or the seller. So profit equals your cap rate times your sales price. Okay, this gets a little more useful. And then finally, your sales price equals your NOI over your cap rate. I actually like this. Cap rate's in a percentage. So this is a somewhat useful way to say it. So my NOI for this particular deal is $100K, right? And what do you think I can sell my t-shirt company for? I don't know. You literally don't know, right? You can sell it for what you can sell it for. Of course, as a business broker, whatever, you're going to set, and there's industry standards, and you're going to try to set these numbers to what's the fair price. But maybe the t-shirt business is just it's going through some problems this year, and there's all these competitors, and there's these AI t-shirt printers out there, and the t-shirt printing companies are just, it's rough. And so somebody says, I'm not going to buy this t-shirt printing company. And maybe there's other factors. Maybe you made all this profit, but your factory is falling apart, and everybody knows you're going to need, another $200K per year for the next 5 years just to keep your machines running. And just this last year you could tell it's the last year your machines were functioning. So how much are you willing to buy this t-shirt company for? Well, they made $100K. I'm only willing to pay, it's a real company, and I think I'm a pretty good t-shirt guy, and my AI is stronger than yours. So I'm willing to pay $200K for it. Geez, it's pretty cheap, but there's a lot of problems with it, right? Well, 100K divided by what is 200K? Remember, if you divide by a number between 0 and 1, it's actually kind of like multiplication, right? So this would be the same as multiplying by 2, aka a 50% cap rate. Obviously, that's horrible. But let's say we'll buy it for $1 million, 100K. So you solve for that. 100K over what equals $1 million? That's over 0.1, aka 10% cap rate. So a 10 cap. If you bought this thing, but who knows what you'll sell it for? You could sell it for 2, or who knows what the buyer will buy it for, right? You can list it for whatever you want, but they might not buy it for that. And so that's why, to me, cap rate is like, it makes me roll my eyes a little bit. Furthermore, these expenses, I think T-shirt guy was honest with his expenses, but maybe not. Maybe he paid cash for some stuff. It really cost him $990,000. This guy's only making 10K, and he can bury, he might be burying, and that's where due diligence comes into play, but you never know. You don't know. 100,000%. I dig into these financials. You know what some of these financials look like that we dig into for these smaller facilities? I mean, I have a video out there. I don't know if I published it. It's me sitting for 4 hours straight, going through tedious line by line of like napkin written numbers. And I did quality due diligence, but you don't know 100%. You can't be 100% sure. Maybe this guy his expenses are higher than you think, and they're really $990. And then that 100K goes to 10K pretty quick, right? So what are you willing to pay for this? I'm willing to pay $250K, right? Whatever that ends up being. So that's cap rate, is that percentage. Alternatively, you can look at it like this. Cap rate equals your profit over your purchase price. And then to compound the goofiness of this, again, the point is that it's not like the cap rate is this, you have to sell it at this cap rate. It's more along the lines of the following question is this same question, is kind of what I'm getting at here. How much do you think you can sell your facility for? Is this same exact question as, what cap rate do you think you can get for your facility upon sale? Those are literally the exact same question. That's it. They're the same question. All one does, the cap rate, is kind of also imply the NOI is involved in that bit of knowledge. But they are the exact same question. I get the same knowledge out of them. Assuming I know what the NOI is, the answer to the question, how much do you think you're going to sell your facility for? And what is the cap rate that you think you're going to sell your facility for? Assuming I know the NOI, which, I mean, of course, you know the NOI for any deal. It's the same question. So it doesn't give me more knowledge. It doesn't do anything for me. And then again, it gets to this concept of you can stretch what goes into NOI. Well, your expenses and your gross go into that. And so you got to do real due diligence on those things. Finally, the last thing is like cap rate, because everybody kind of knows they got these rates in their head, right? It's like cap rate of, and a high cap rate is good, right? That means you're purchasing the facility for cheap. Remember in this example, a high cap rate of 50% is $200K. And then a lower cap rate of 10% is $1 million purchase price. It's just math. So a high cap rate is good. So you want to be positive leverage. Oh my God, please don't make fun of me for Oh no, they're on to me. I can't spell. It's okay. So positive leverage, we'll just say positive lev. Where was I at here? We were talking about cap rate and debt rate and positive leverage. So the other thing that they'll do is they'll kind of say everybody has these cap rates in their mind, which you're always trying to be positively leveraged. So you want a cap rate, you're buying a facility. The one guy I met, he was this kind of, bro-y type storage investor. He used to say 10 caps and butt slaps, which I don't know. I kind of butt slaps, slap ass. So it's like, yeah, good game, 10 caps. A 10 cap's good, it's high. It's high enough that it's hopefully over your debt rate. And so, here we go. Sorry. Where I'm going with this is to say that everybody has these numbers in their brain. Like, I want at least a 7 cap, an 8 cap. Once you get to 9 and a 10, woo-wee, yeah, 10 cap. Right? So what they'll do on these pro forma numbers or on the listing, they'll say, oh, a year 3, 12 cap. Oh. And what's that based off of? Like, oh my God, a 12 cap, that's amazing. Well, it's based off of the fact that within the pro forma, they show you, the potential buyer, increasing revenue from, 120K per year to, market rates are, 180K per year. Yeah, that gets you to your 12 cap. Well, and it's like, well, what's the year one? Well, year one's a 3 cap. Good God, that's horrible. Now, there are big institutional buyers, basically, that will buy at 3.5, 4 caps, but these guys are buying hundreds of millions of dollars of property, and their investment strategy is not this big value add. They're just trying to buy and hold large quality assets, right? So I'm not trying to buy a 3 cap, but that's the other reason I don't like cap rate, is because they hide these... they'll not hide, but they'll say, oh yeah, year 3, 10 cap. But then that's reasonable too. It's not this horrible, disingenuous thing. That's a point of pro forma. That's why you're investing, is to increase that's why a lot of self-storage investors are investing in value-add property. Heck, it's inherent in the name. It's called a value-add property. By very definition, you are, you have this pseudo-speculative aspect to the value-add, which is fine. So it's not this, I'll cage my kind of prior mocking type tone of saying, year 3, 12 cap. It's actually somewhat reasonable. But point is, take all of the cap rate conversation with a grain of salt. Now, if it's a day 1, 10 cap, woo-wee, all right, we're good to go. Anyways, that's my rant. Let's get back to, again, we're going through Structuring and Raising Debt and Equity for Real Estate by Rob Beardsley. Buy the book. Absolutely amazing book. It's dense. It is like a neutron star dense. Like 1 teaspoon of this book weighs as much as a mountain. Or at least maybe that's a neutron star. But you get my point. We'll keep going through it. That's our cap rate rant. God bless. Wishing you all the very best. This is Capper from Lantern Light Capital. Feel free to reach out anytime. That's Jordan at lanternlightcap.com.